Hey, if you don't know me, my name is FNAF, and I'm a fairly new YouTuber. Just throwing that out there as like a disclaimer for the beginning of this video. So, what I like to do for the beginning is something called an intro. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. If you're here for just like a Vanessa Afton theory, that's understandable. You can skip to this timestamp. But if you actually want to hear like a little overview of my thought process behind what I'm doing right now, because it's a bit out of the ordinary for me, stick around. It's only like an extra minute of your time. And geez, you guys are not using your time well if you're watching a FNAF theory video made by a YouTuber who doesn't even have over 110 subscribers. Now, for those of you who are still here with me, let us begin. What am I doing? I'm a gaming channel. I'm not a theory channel. It's not my character. I'm just a simple lad who makes video game content for fun. I'm not smart, much less sane enough to make a logical theory about this game that I've never even played. For a bit of background on me, I'm not too right up here in the head. I'm a bit insane. And I have some insane ideas. Usually, I repress the urge to share these insane mental hospital worthy ideas into the public, but you know, I'm feeling a bit quirky today, so I might as well. It doesn't really matter to me. As a sort of overview for this video, I'm going to be going through like many different mini theories of mine, with little like Phoebus points to back them up. In case you don't know what Phoebus points are, because I don't expect you to, some people who know me see me as like a genius, a real intelligent fellow. Not to toot my own horn. I'm gonna add sound effects to that later to make it sound like I'm actually tooting a horn. I know that was weird. But my trick to my insane intellect, is the word that I was looking for, is my logical skills. I am a very logical person. I concoct answers of the things that I want to talk about with so much like plausibility that people just think that that's true. And the evidence, the so-called Phoebus points, are what I use to back up my thinking. Because, you know, why have actual evidence, am I right? If you're still intrigued about what my mind has conceived, even after I've probably scared you away with how insane I am, stick around. Stick around in this video, and I will show you some of the best evidence for theories that I have seen in a while. Like, game theory level theories, in my opinion. Some of the notable theories I will be covering in this video is topics like, are Vanessa Vanny and the Crying Child robots, which is a popular one? Did Afton get in on purpose? We'll talk more about that later. Why is Michael Afton being Freddy? Makes sense. We'll talk about that later. Along with the main focus of today's video. Why did William Afton do what he did? Be aware, spoilers for like the entire Five Nights at Freddy's series. I haven't seen them. I've been spoiled on them numerous times, but you know, whoever wants to play them, what are you doing? It's been like years since they came out. Now, let's actually start the theories. Now, the theories mentioned previously are not theories that I just came up with individually, or that can be explored individually. They're theories that have to fit in the perfect order for them to be even the tiniest bit just logical or plausible. They have to be in the exact order for you to see the bigger picture. So, for the purpose of this video, I will be using my theories not as an individual like explanation of why things are where they are, but in a sort of like timeline fashion, so that it goes from theory to theory to theory to theory to theory to see why they all come together the way they do. And just as a heads up, I will be referencing MatPat's videos a bit, since he, you know, kind of created the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. I feel like that's pretty obvious, but I can't, like, ignore them, because they're what has shaped my view of the Five Nights at Freddy's sort of timeline. I mean, you don't need to have seen his videos, but they help a bit. Anyway, a bit of background. MatPat theorizes that Gregory and Vanny and Vanessa and Freddy might be some of the former people that we know in the story. Freddy is Michael Afton, Gregory is Evan Afton, the Crying Child, Vanessa/Vanny is Elizabeth Afton, the first victim of Afton's crimes. The theory of dead people in the FNAF timeline coming back to life in the form of robots is not a new theory. In the books, it happens a lot of times. Henry makes a robot for his daughter to inhabit because she died. It's something that it's not new. It's not a new thing that is theorized. But the main problem why this theory doesn't make sense is because for someone to have inhabited the robot bodies, someone also had to have made robot bodies. And I don't think Henry, one, has enough time for that, and two, I don't think Afton cares enough about his children for that to happen, given what we've seen from him. Child murder. So anyway, Afton doesn't seem really to be the guy that cares about his children. So why would he make copies of his children? Well, what if Henry's motives are the exact same as Afton's motives, but reversed? Considering William is portrayed to be the exact opposite of one William Afton, what would be the most logical course of action for William to take during his crimes? Well, they both experience the same kind of grief, loss of a child. One of the earliest deaths in the FNAF timeline would be that of Evan Afton, William Afton's son, and even earlier, his daughter, Elizabeth. What if he tried to do something similar to Henry, to that of Henry? In the games, Henry lures all the electronic people, all the robots, all the animatronics is the word I was looking for, to a pizzeria, and he sets them all ablaze, as well as freeing Henry of his grief from losing his daughter, the puppet/Lefty. If Afton's thought process is a corrupt version of Henry's, then his goal to rid himself of his grief was theoretically the opposite: trap their souls in robotic versions of themselves. So that's what he does. He tries what Henry did in the book series. He uses Remnant to inject the souls of his children into robotic versions of them that progressively get older, but he's new to this. He doesn't know what he's doing. So then how does he do it? This is where the surprisingly convenient death of his daughter comes in handy. She was the first victim of William Afton and the Afton family's first loss. This is shown by the empty girl's room in the Afton house. Before her death, Afton was testing out his own animatronics to expand the Fredbear Family Diner franchise. The problem was that they were malfunctioning. He didn't want to expose them to his kids because of these glitches, which is portrayed by the line,
"Daddy, why won't you let me play with her?"
Nonetheless, Elizabeth, being the girl that she is, ignores her father's wishes. She sees baby, and right when she goes to grab a delicious cone of ice cream, well, you know it. This is where the theory debunking starts. People think that this is just, Afton being Afton, the child murderer that we all know and some love, unfortunately. But if that's true, then why did he want to stop Elizabeth from meeting baby in the first place? You also have to take note of the blacked out eyes that baby has when killing Elizabeth. Sure, it could be for the extra creep factor, ooh, spooky, but Afton doesn't seem like that kind of person to go for the creep factor when killing children. I think it was a malfunction. Throughout that whole minigame, baby is dandy. She is absolutely fine. She's not killing children, she's not doing anything. She is great, grand, amazing. So then why now does she decide to kill the one person that William didn't want dead? It makes the most sense that this was merely a coincidence, and that Afton was truly depressed when learning he caused his daughter's death. Ballora, being theorized to be Afton's wife, sings about this heartbreak in Sister Location.
Why do you hide inside your walls when there is music in my halls?
Ballora is trying to cheer up Afton, now the social recluse, because he, more than she, is in pain. Imagine the loss of a child, and now imagine the loss if you had caused it. But wait, baby has been acting an awfully lot like Elizabeth lately. Afton realizes that her soul had somehow trapped itself inside baby, or baby had trapped the soul. He believed there may still be a way to save her, like, say, putting her soul into a new robotic childlike body. Wait, but that's what they did in the book series. But, as I said, Afton is, inexperienced in the way of Remnant, in the way of injecting souls into animatronics. So, he creates the Funtime animatronics to accurately simulate and recreate what happened to Elizabeth on that fateful day.
With all due respect, Those aren't the design choices we were curious about, Mr. Afton.
The Funtime animatronics were designed to kill kids, but not because Afton wanted to just, automate felonies. He needed more research to be done, and what works better than experimentation? So he gets to work. Flash forward a few years. In order to keep his youngest son, Evan, away from Fredbear's, William Afton creates the Nightmare animatronics. Unfortunately, Evan's love of Fredbear's eventually overpowers his fear. Evan rather reluctantly goes on a birthday party and gets himself in a rather unfortunate situation. His brother Michael pranks him by inserting his skull in the incredibly powerful animatronic's mouth. Funny, right? Evan tears trigger a spring lock malfunction and is now and forever known as the victim of the Bite of 83. Afton, rather obviously, jeez, there are so many rathers in the script, I don't know why I put these here, falls into a deeper pit of despair since another one of his children is dead. Now his determination to bring them back is stronger than ever. But wait once more, a new revelation has come to light. Thanks to Evan's soul possessing the suit, Afton now knows even more about how the souls cling to the endoskeletons of the suits. He doesn't just stuff kids into suits willy-nilly, he does it because it isn't practical to build an incredibly expensive sentient robot every single time he needs to murder a child. As it turns out, however, the suit stuffing method had its own set of problems that have arisen. The souls of the children, now freed by the puppet, are out for revenge against William. William tries to escape but is eventually cornered in his secret storage room. This is the part where he climbs into his future Springtrap suit and dies to a spring lock malfunction. Pretty stupid on his end, right? Wrong. Afton planned this all along. If he knew he was going to be haunted by the souls of his victims, he couldn't just run away to solve his problems. They would eventually get to him and end him. So he needed an effective way to become slightly immortal to not only survive the souls of the children, but to continue his work indefinitely. Afton purposefully put on the Springtrap suit in order to preserve his soul. He didn't do it out of pure panic. That doesn't make sense at all. Why would he do that? Unfortunately for the souls of the children, Afton's plan works. He's preserved in his golden suit and is free to continue his work. Is what would have happened. As it turns out, a certain security guard is blocking him from his goal. By this time, William had already built the child through adult versions of Elizabeth's clones, though, and he had recently finished Evan's child form since he had just recently died. But none of their souls are coming back. Because, they're still stuck to the animatronics that killed them. The doy. If only there happened to be a convenient fire that would supposedly free them from their earthly bounds so that they could go to the specially made suits.
And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you.
So, yeah, Henry kind of helps him in that regard, which is fitting since he's, the one who came up with the idea of a robotic replica in the books. Fast forward even more to the time of Help Wanted. This is where the theory really starts to kick off, in my opinion. Vanessa's working at the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Company. After a mysterious suicide from a former employee, she's given the position to playtest their newest VR game. And before I keep going on this storytelling/rant, I would like to point out why Vanessa being a robot makes so much sense. I know that in the FNAF shorts there are a surprising amount of stories where the animatronics and humans have themselves an episode of Freaky Friday, but frankly, it always bothered me that they could perform basic possessions so easily and Afton couldn't. There fortunately has been one other instance of William Afton taking over someone else's body, or something. Freddy Fazbear, a robot with the personality of Michael Afton. So it's possible that William Afton purposefully drove that first playtester to suicide because he needed to control the mind of somebody without one. Anyway, William takes over Vanessa's CPU, or tries to, at least. Going back to Freddy, he was able to resist Afton's control for a while when William had a body. Since he doesn't now, he would, logically, have little to no control, only being able to whisper into Vanessa's ear. Vanessa reluctantly follows. Reluctant follower reluctantly follows his whispers at first, but he knows that she won't help him murder more children. Continue his very important work / research. That's when it hits him. Vanessa has spare bodies back at his house, failed experiments, so he body hops into a broken Vanessa, which, when you think about it, makes an incredible amount of sense. When you play Security Breach, Vanny's voice is peculiar. Her voice sounds like it's the broken or failed version of Vanessa's.
Are you having fun yet?
If Afton's main priority was just to prototype an original body in the beginning, the last thing he would worry about is the voice. Along with the voice, Afton's methods also match up with Vanny's design. Patchwork. Afton's first model was just slapping together random things to see what would replicate his daughter's soul abduction, and this plan of his was also conceived rather quickly. This broken form that he's taken upon is just a means to an end, to get back his own peak physical body. Or as peak as you could be when you're a charred robot animatronic of a rabbit. This also explains why Vanny's unmasked to be Vanessa by Vanessa in one of the security breach endings. In my opinion, this changes everything, or rather it changes our perception of everything. Continuing on, it also explains why Gregory isn't an adult like Vanessa. His clones, as mentioned previously, were never finished because Afton was stuck in the pizzeria, but before he was cornered, William did at least start on Gregory's line of robots. So much so that he was able to recreate the child version. This also matches up with the timeline. Afton wanted to get Elizabeth's soul preserved as quickly as possible, so he couldn't automatically start on Evan's clothes when he died afterwards. Freddie V and Michael Afton also lines up with the theory too, since William didn't even start on Michael's clones because Michael had never died when Afton was in control of his workshop. But the thing that ties this whole story together is Security Breach's happy ending, where Freddy's head, Gregory, and Vanessa are all sitting on a hill. MatPat theorizes that this conclusion to the Afton's family torment, but I'll do you one better. This is William Afton's happy ending too. He has finally accomplished his lifelong goal of bringing all of his children back to life. Though he may not be there to see it, Afton won. Afton was good after all. As good as you could be when you murder children, you know. He's not really that good in that regard. So there you have it, folks. That's my FNAF Megatheory. In conclusion, Afton is not the psychopath we all know and some love. He is merely a man so stricken with the grief of losing his children and not letting anyone stop him from getting them back. I know that there's a lot wrong with this theory, the way I presented it, all the stuff like that. I just wanted to spread my thoughts on the subject and see what y'all could see to be true and what you would call insane speculism. Basically, it was all for kicks. MatPat, hit me up. I love your content, and I think that this is actually a really good theory that you should do a video on. Praise me, why don't you? Finally, if you deities and theorists have enjoyed, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below if you want to see more of this. I recently just hit 100 subscribers, so I'm trying to mix it up with what I'm doing. Sun's going down.